Okay, I'm really bright, but I don't want to move the camera because you're on a box. Good morning. Today is Thursday, September 29th, and it is almost October. And I really need to start prepping. I'm really behind. I need to start prepping for October Art Challenge. And there are several out there. There's Inktober, Drawtober, Goretober, I believe it's called, Drawloween, Peachtober. I mean, there's so many. The list goes on and on and on. There's so many artists that create their own lists that are amazing. And I don't know which one to do. So I'm going to look at Very Little Peach's Peachtober list. And I think I'm gonna do that one. It's 30 days. The list is on Pinterest, and I'll put a little picture here. And I'm going to be doing it in this Hanmuna gray toned watercolor. It looks white because it's so bright and I can't adjust it. I'm gonna be doing it in this with inks. And so I wanted to do thumbnails in this Royal Talent sketchbook of the prompts to see if I can get an idea, because I tend to like to create a story for my October drawing challenge. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm going to switch the camera around, and I'm gonna try to do that. And you can watch me create thumbnails for the promptlets. That's the prep work I'm gonna be doing. A lot of people will already create like final drawings or something, but it's the best way to go about it is to already have some plan of action. That way it's easier to sit down and draw and not feel so overwhelmed with a prompt list of 31 words where you're drawing every day. And if you're not used to creating images every day, it can be very daunting. So why don't you do it with me? Let's prep together. Okay, so I finished all the thumbnails, which I don't know if you can see. There it is. Well, I didn't finish them all. I have a couple, I would say up to 19 it's completely created, the thumbnails. And then after 19, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that I don't have, and then I have a couple, and then I have the last one. So, and thumbnails, and by thumbnails, I mean thumbnails. Nothing detailed. They're really, really rough. Pretty much only I can understand them, and I hope I will still be able to understand them later. But how I did it is that I looked at the prompt word and I tried to see how I connect that one with the next one. And that's how I started. So the first one was cave, and I'm like, okay, so just draw a cave. And then I thought, well, maybe there's something in the cave. Maybe someone is looking inside a cave. And maybe there's a little detail that gives a clue for the next word. And then in the next one, you see that little clue, and it gives you a little hint of the following word. And then it kept on going on where I started seeing, oh, there's like a little nugget there of a story. So it's kind of like an adventure scene, you could say. Like one thing leads to another, which leads to another, which leads to another. And then it's full circle. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I feel a bit more prepared for Peachtober. And so now I just wanted to do a quick little swatch of the materials that I will be using and number the pages. And that's it. And I think I will be documenting daily whenever I draw in this sketchbook, and then I'll be posting it on YouTube. So let's do this together. All right, so I'm going to be doing this without editing. I thought since it's almost October, we have a couple weeks, 2 weeks before October, or a week before October starts, and I wanted to get into the spooky vibe. I love witches, so I thought I would paint on this page that I had put some acrylic ink on here and paint over it and do it with you guys. So I'm just going to start sketching where I think things should go. I'm looking at an old illustration. It's like a classical witch illustration that I'm using as a reference. Obviously, it's not going to look the same. But I'm just using it as a guide for how I would like to draw the witch. When I am drawing, I tend to never erase. I do not erase. I leave the mistakes as they are there, and go from there. Mistakes are not a bad thing, and the best way to learn is just to leave the mistakes there and not erase your work. This arm here, and she's stirring. I think it's, yeah, that. The collar. And shoulder over here. She's looking at a book. We'll have one arm here. And so she has the book open here. Her hand is... So I'm just using the pose from this illustration. That's what I tend to look at when I do use other people's art as references. I use their posing. Or maybe I'll use the color palette that they used if I found that really appealing. Or maybe I'll use how they, like their sense of perspective I might use. But besides that, I do not use anything else from their composition or their creation. There's a fine line between being inspired by someone's art and copying. And I definitely am not copying. I'm just looking at how she has a book open here that I do like. So the pose and the book is what I'm keeping from this old illustration.
show you how I create cover letter art.